Okay, it's January 12th, 2021. It's a Tuesday, and I'm going to give a little tour of Kinnear Park. For reference, that is my apartment building. And this won't be a long tour. The park isn't that big, but I just want to show you the path and the views that you get from it. So here we're at one of the 4 or 5 entrances to the park. And we come right on, in this part of it, a playground, swing set. As you can see, it's very cloudy today, but not as cloudy as it was earlier today. And then up here is a little lookout point. There's a picnic table, come to lunch, and then we can see all the way, that land across Elliott Bay there is West Seattle, and over that direction is Bainbridge Island and a couple other islands. And normally without the clouds you would see the Olympic Peninsula mountains there. In the distance you can see that's Magnolia with the bridge there, the cars going up. And right in front is the Greenery, and another park down there called Centennial Park. And further down that way it continues on as Myrtle Edwards Park. And this is just another place to hang out. So let's go take a walk on the trail. And Kinnear Park is in the, I guess, southwest part of Queen Anne Hill. It was it's named after, I think, George Kinnear, who was some real estate guy back in the late 18th century, and I believe he donated this land for the park. And it's not a very I guess big park, but it's actually it's long and narrow is what it is, as opposed to being wide. It's like on a little sliver of land here, which, you know, it could have been built into houses or apartment buildings, but we got this park, and it basically just has this trail that goes up and around. This part of the park is where a lot of people bring their dogs. It's not off leash, but people do that anyway. But this is where they'll throw, you know, a ball and stuff with the dogs run around. Otherwise, though, this is where a lot of people who I guess live close by will take their dogs for walks in the morning, before work and after work. There's another entrance up that way. So you can see this walk is just really beautiful. You get this really nice view looking south toward Elliott Bay, and really beautiful, lush greenery and trees. And this park is not popular, really. I mean, I live across the street, so I'm constantly just looking out the window, and there's never really a lot of people here. Even in the summertime, when the weather is much better, there are people who like sunbathe and throw out a blanket, but still, I can't remember a time where it's been really full, let's say. There's another entrance that way. I'm trying to think of like where other parks are on Queen Anne, and there's a couple of ball fields and that sort of thing, but I don't know of any other park per se. You know, on the other side of Queen Anne is, you know, the ship canal, where the goes from, you know, Lake Union towards Puget Sound through the salt water, and where the Ballard Locks are. But in the ship canal part, Queen Anne and Fremont across the other way is a lovely, you know, trail and a park, I guess you can call it that. You know, there's benches and stuff. But I can't think of anything else on top I guess there's a couple small. There's definitely towards that direction is Kinnear Park, which looks out over downtown Seattle. That's a very, very small park, and that's basically just getting that beautiful downtown Seattle view. And that's always crowded because people are always coming there to see that picture postcard view of Seattle. And you can always see a tour bus letting people off to see the view. So here's another view. That's the Greenery right there, and you can see the trains. Basically, this is part of the Great Northern Railroad, I guess, that this can like hook up with the rest of the country. So basically, that grain terminal, the trains come with grain from the Midwest or wherever it's grown and offload it there. It's inspected and weighed and all that stuff, and then it ends up over there where it actually goes into the ships that come by, and that ship's been there all day, and you can't see it, but there's another ship that looks like it's waiting its turn, and so that's kind of what happens. The original Greenery was south of here. It was down past downtown Seattle, where all the docks are for all the ships coming from the Far East and offloading their wares. Anyway, that was, I guess, outdated, and you know, there was, I guess, nothing else really going on here port-wise. There are some, you can see some boats there, and sometimes you get some cruise ships that dock there, and there's a few marinas, but nothing as far as what was in Southtown. So this was, I think, built in 1970, this Greenery, replacing the one down south, past downtown Seattle. And it was approved, but I don't think when they gave the plans, they included the scope of how big it would be, the height of it, because when it actually was being built and people found out how high it would be, they were quite upset, because pretty much people on this side, you know, got their view all of a sudden blocked by this Greenery. And you know, there is my apartment building right there. So, and I guess anyone else kind of looking that way, so all of a sudden sees this Greenery. But as far as, you know, I'm concerned, obviously I'm here way after the fact, and you know, for me it's part of the view. You know, I kind of like seeing like the trains coming in, and you know, it's the boats in the harbor there in the bay, and you know, at night I can hear from my bedroom the trains, you know, on the tracks, and then attaching and detaching and all that stuff. But I guess whenever there's a project, there's always going to be resistance, you know, and there certainly should be, not that there should be resistance, but definitely things should be looked into. But I mean, that I think was a great idea to kind of build something new, and you know, it certainly was a success as far as, you know, for Seattle, having this port and this main, you know, spot in the Pacific Northwest where our grain comes and goes out to the rest of the world. Here's can get a better shot of the boat there, and then right in front of the Greenery, or along the same path, is Centennial Park, which I think used to be called Elliott Bay Park. And you can see sort of right there is the park, and then there's a path, and that goes all the way down south towards which runs into Myrtle Edwards Park. Myrtle Edwards was a Seattle city councilwoman, I believe in the 50s and 60s, and it was named after her. And then further on is the Sculpture Park, part of the Seattle Art Museum, which is a beautiful thing. That opened in 2007. So basically you have this long park, and it goes further on towards that way. Although once you get into the Interbay area, it's not really a park, it's more of just a cement path. So certainly bike riders take that. Here's more of the park. This is where you'd find some people sitting down and having a picnic, and you know, and that bench there is great to kind of just sit out and gaze upon the beautiful view. And this is kind of really the you know, one of the great things about this park is as you're walking along and just taking a look, you can see part of downtown Seattle over right there. It's kind of cloudy. You can also see the stadiums in the distance, T-Mobile Stadium and Seahawks Stadium. I don't know if it's, I think it was called Pressfield. I don't know if it's still called Pressfield. It might be called something else. They changed the names a lot. But I mean, look at this beautiful view. Straight across there is West Seattle. You can see all the cranes there for lifting off containers from the ships. You can even see it, I don't know how to see, but right there is Starbucks headquarters. And then just see all like the trains, you know, and you could just kind of stand here for a long time and just take a good look at this view here. Just to go around this path, I timed it once, it took me approximately 7 minutes. So figure it's like a 10-minute if you're kind of doing a little stroll. So you can see that it's not that big. That's where we came in over there. Now the park actually does continue this way for a little bit, and then there's an exit down that way, but there's also a staircase, and the park actually continues. You can go down the staircase, and a couple of flights is a tennis court, and then further on from the tennis court is an actual dog park, which I don't see used that much. You know, it's really, a lot of people usually drive to these dog parks and off-leash areas, but if you go further down, no one really lives right down there. There's all like businesses and traffic, and of course the greenery. So I guess it's not really convenient then. Maybe people don't want to go up and down the stairs, but it does get used. I do see people, but probably not as much if it was up here. Like it looks like they can put one right there. Anyway, here's some lovely trees. I mean, it's really lovely here. So you can sit in this bench and just kind of gaze out at the world. And there's where we're standing on before that lookout point. And there's bathrooms underneath, which are closed now. They're closed. And just right here, just this wonderful view. And it's pretty breathtaking. You can see that's the Seattle ferry that's coming from Bainbridge Island and is going to go towards downtown Seattle. Basically, it's about a half-hour ride from Bainbridge Island to downtown Seattle, and certainly something that if you were to visit, that you should go on, because it's a beautiful ride. Seeing the vast Elliott Bay with downtown Seattle and the other views and the smell of the sea air. Well, this is where we started. Maybe the next video I'll actually go down, walk down to go to Centennial Park and Myrtle Edwards Park and see that lovely park, because that is certainly beautiful as well. Okay, over and out.